I always was brought up with that mindset that the attorney has to pick up the phone calls, has to talk to every client, has to do all the work, which is not accurate. Yes, there is work that the attorney needs to do, but there's also work that the attorney does not have to do.
Hey, law firm owners, welcome to the Your Practice Mastered podcast. I'm MPS and joined by...
I'm Richard James, and today we got a great conversation. Once a year, we try to honor some of the Entrepreneurial Attorney of the Year finalists. That's a contest we have at the end of every year to let those members from our Partners Club family compete with one another, not only for the benefit of winning, but also for the benefit of looking at their firm and looking at all the things that they did and see what they did right and see where they could make corrections. And then we select 4 finalists out of those applications we receive who are then going to compete head-to-head at our May event for the title of the Entrepreneurial Attorney of the Year. Today, we have the joy of being able to interview Humberto Rivera.
Hey, first time EAY finalist. I'm a bankruptcy firm here in Florida. My wife works here in the firm as well. She handles basically everything in the firm. We have a very good team of people working with us to help out all our clients the way they should be helped.
Humberto, you had a heck of a 2025. That's why you're sitting here today. And I know you were working really hard because you showed up at one of the events, and I think you were looking for some clarity in systems. Where do you feel you really started to put things into play that lack of clarity was hurting you or the firm the most?
So I put myself like in a dark room. I didn't know what was going on. It was basically just walking around, hitting myself with everything that was on the way. Now I see it that way, right? At that point, I didn't realize it. And if you don't know what those things are, you're trying to throw everything out there to see what it works. And that's just throwing darts at a board.
And you were handling a lot of that dart throwing yourself.
I would say I was handling about 80% of the work.
In the moment, it's hard to feel like the bottleneck and release control of some of that work and responsibility. So what made you actually want to commit to doing that?
It was the first recommendation I got. And once that first recommendation worked, I was like, you know what? I'm all in. And this first recommendation I found very logical, right? Why didn't I think of that? And that's when I realized that if this worked, I have to do this other thing because that other thing is definitely going to work.
Okay, so what was the first thing?
My first interaction with Partners Club was their first event, right? And the first event I went, Rich asked me, is there anything you want to say? Any problems you're having with your law firm? And I told him, I'm having issues with money. I don't have the money to even pay Partners Club. And the first recommendation you said was, why don't you give a 10% discount to every client that pays in full and put everybody on a payment plan? I do bankruptcies, right? My mentality was pay as you go, pay when you can. I know you're in financial distress, but that was hurting me. And I didn't realize that. And by implementing that one advice, it changed 2024 drastically.
Hey, if you've recognized that you're the bottleneck and you need some help as well, one of the first places to look is replacing yourself in consults, similar to what Humberto has done. So go to non-attorneysalespeople.com to learn a little bit more about finding a fully trained non-attorney salesperson that could be placed in your firm.
I just talked to a firm just before this interview, and they said, I recognize in order for me to do the things I want to do, which is I want to take care of my family and I want to take care of my firm family. In order for me to be able to take care of those two, I need to make sure that I put the oxygen mask on myself first. And in this case, it was put the oxygen mask on the business. And so he had to figure out how to make sure that deals were being closed and people were paying their bill and we were charging the right fee and those fundamentals. And it sounds like that's where you needed to start too. And you felt like you were doing them a favor by doing that, right?
That's totally accurate. And more importantly, it was just me and my wife. I didn't have that office family that you spoke about, but I did have my family working at the firm. So we were taking a hit not only in the office, but also at home. And at the same time, we were doing a disservice to our clients because then they were taking 1 year, year and a half, or 2 years to even pay us. Come in at the office, I always say, no longer with the noose on their hand, they had it over their throat, right? And ready to throw the rope over the branch. And it actually creates that sense of despair in the client. And that's something that we try not to have now going forward after starting in Partners Club.
Nice. MPS, we also read that there was this whole awareness that the data was required. What do you think about that?
We know that numbers run the practice, right? That's the truth. But I'm curious, Humberto, what did that look like from a practical application from your perspective?
When we started 2025, the first thing I implemented was, like I said, the 10% paid in full discount and the payment plans. When we started 2025, I started keeping track of my numbers, keeping track of the people that called in the office, the people that were actually set for an appointment, how many of those appointments showed up, and how many of those who showed up retained the firm, right? So we started keeping track of the numbers. That opened up our eyes because then we were able to see that there are people calling into the office. The only issue we had was that I wrote it in a little piece of paper next to my desk, forgot about it. Or we had a little notebook to-do list where you rip it off and put it on the side. We couldn't follow up with anybody because we didn't have the metrics. We didn't know what was happening really in the firm.
So when you don't have the data and you don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden you had the data, you heard he said, he goes, we actually had the leads. I didn't know we had the leads, right? MPS?
Right.
Why is that so important from an intake perspective?
Well, because what you often recognize is that from a marketing perspective, the lead flows, and we have a bunch of opportunities sitting there in both intake and consultations to close. And it's like alchemy. We can literally create new business out of what feels like thin air. They were there the whole time, but now we've got a record of them. So I think that was a pretty monumental move in 2025. And so there's no magic pill to do all this. It was consistent action that happened through the course of 2025 and continued to be implemented. But if you look back on last year, what do you feel was the number one thing you did to help propel you into this year?
I would say, first off, take myself out of almost every role. That's the first thing. I implemented an intake system with an intake person that's great, by the way, handles all incoming inbound calls, does the intake to new clients, reroutes the calls to whomever needs to receive the call. Obviously, that team is going to grow. I hired a non-attorney salesperson who's handling all initial consults, explaining to clients what are their steps, retaining the firm and things like that, and now handling the essential roles, meeting with the client, strategizing on how we're going to move forward, going to court, which I'm doing less of because I just hired an associate a couple months ago as well, and taking care of the business, handling the business, figuring out how else or what else to do to keep on growing.
I don't want to disillusion anybody that it's like a magic wand and it just happens. There was a couple of ingredients here. You have to have leads coming in from somewhere, whether you're using a marketing company or referrals or whatever. You had that. You just weren't doing a good job of tracking those leads by your own admission and then converting those leads because A, we weren't tracking, and B, we were out of time, and C, you were the bottleneck. If we give a good roadmap, track your lead flow and your conversions, have somebody else do that primary lead flow conversion besides the owner of the firm, and use intelligent scripting and structuring to maximize the set rate, the close rate, and the average amount of money paid, and the people that are on payment plans. And all that started to work. And it takes time. You have to let the cash catch up. And so, just because you fixed it in month one didn't mean all the cash was there in month one. Is that a fair statement?
Totally fair. Totally fair. We've seen a growth in cash-wise, right? Year to year, month to month, even week to week, because I always track week to week as well. You have to track even what you did last week to try to be on top of your game. Now, yes, it does take time, and most importantly, it also takes work. I won't lie, it's not easy. Like you said, it's not a magic pill. I said, you know what? I'm going to work my something off. And I've done it. I used to get into the office at 10 o'clock if I wanted to, right? Now I get into the office every morning at 7:30. During 2025, I was leaving the office most nights at 8 o'clock at night. Now this year, I leave the office at 6. And hopefully next year I could leave at maybe 4, maybe play some golf or something like that.
Well, but that's the progression, right? MPS, you didn't start your business or even started this business just like, oh, I've got July and December off. You got to grow into it, right? It's not that you earn the right to. It's just that It just takes time.
And it takes systems, and it takes people to run those systems. And you've got to find the recipe to strike the balance between all of those things. And that takes time, work, training, evaluation, accountability to be able to keep things moving forward. But Humberto, one of the things that I really appreciated about your journey is that you had an incredible amount of trust in taking advice and then implementing it. Not many attorneys can say that. The speed at which you took something like putting an appointment setter and a non-attorney salesperson into your law firm, that very first year of being in our program, that doesn't happen very often. So like, what was it that either allowed that trust or just allowed you to make that move?
It was a series of things. And I'll tell you this much, when I was initially talking to Megan, who was actually the first person I talked to from your practice master, my wife was right next to me. And she was like, oh, that's a scam. Don't buy into that. They're not going to do what they say. And I told them, let me go to the first event. I'll go to the first event. I'll evaluate. I'll see what happens. First day, I met this one attorney. We do bankruptcies. He does bankruptcy, a couple hours away from our jurisdiction, but still could be considered up to a certain point competition. And this certain attorney was like, oh, are you doing mailers? I'm like, no, I'm not doing mailers. I don't have the money to. And he's like, well, you have to do mailers here. And he went into his phone and sent me all the templates of his mailers. That's when I was really surprised. That's what shocked me. And that's when I said, oh my God, the group of people in your practice mastered are here to help others achieve what they have achieved. And that's what sold me. That's why when Richard gave me the first advice, I immediately thereafter called my wife and told them, this is the first change we're making. And then once she saw how that changed the way we were handling the office, the money that was coming in, she said, no, we got to do everything that they say they do.
Michael, that means that Mari had our faces on a bullseye and then has taken it off the bullseye now. That's what that means.
Yeah, we already had 2 darts through both of our eyes. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Hey, time goes by so fast when we're having these conversations, Humberto. We're not going to put too fine a point on the numbers here, but what's an average case worth for you?
About 2,500 to 2,900.
Let's call it $3,000.
3,000.
When we first met, how many cases were you filing or hiring the firm every month?
We were at about 3 to 4 cases a month.
And how many did you have last month?
Last month, we had 29 cases.
And how many have you had so far through half of this month?
15.
Right. So your firm has gone from 3 or 4 cases a month, $12-ish thousand in case value, to $90,000 in case value, roughly, on this trajectory. I just want to stop and recognize that we talk to hundreds of attorneys every month, and not many of them implement at your level as quickly as you are. And congratulations to you for being open, for using your God-given intelligence to look at things a little differently, for going back to work and working hard at implementing once you got that little bit of taste of how it worked, and now having a vision to replace yourself in every avenue and seeing your law firm as a business that's going to allow you to serve more families, it's going to allow you to serve your own family, and ultimately it's going to allow your firm to continue to grow and grow profitably. So from Michael and I, congratulations to you, man. You did a great job.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it, but it's all both of you and all the rest of the people that are participating in YPM who are always there to tell us, I went through this is how you should do it your own way, but this is what worked out for me.
When you told that story about what they shared for you, my eyes teared up, man. That's what we want this group to be about, right?
Well, yeah, and that's what makes it as special as it is, because it's very rare that you find a group that's as open and willing, including with sometimes, on rare occasion, their own competition, in sharing resources as freely as they do. It's very rare. And my hope is that continues and that every new member in this world gets the opportunity to experience something like that.
Well, Humberto, we're looking forward to seeing you present in the Partners Club event, although you've already won. And so we're looking forward to hearing you to share the success in your journey with other new members coming through. So thank you so much for being transparent today. We're excited and we're honored that you allowed us to be part of your journey, my friend.
I thank you guys, and I'm very excited as well.
Hey, if you've recognized that you're the bottleneck and you need some help as well, one of the first places to look is replacing yourself in consults, similar to what Humberto has done. So go to non-attorneysalespeople.com to learn a little bit more about finding a fully trained non-attorney salesperson that could be placed in your firm.
We hope you took a thing or two today from Humberto's conversation and maybe learn for yourself that you need to get out of the way and stop being the bottleneck. Between now and the next time we talk, let's build a better law firm, one system at a time.